Blue Jays fans, stop everything for a moment, because news that nobody wanted to hear has just emerged in Toronto, and it involves the very player who represents the present and the future of this franchise. In a season already marked by ups and downs, moments of hope followed by unexpected frustrations, the Blue Jays have received yet another reason for concern. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the face of the organization, the player who received one of the greatest votes of confidence in franchise history, was left out of the lineup at one of the most important moments of the season. And for anyone who follows this team every day, it is impossible not to feel that knot in your stomach when hearing this kind of news. When the front office decided to build the future of the franchise around Vladimir Guerrero Jr., nobody doubted the importance of that decision. The commitment made between the player and the organization represented far more than just a massive contract. It was a clear message to the entire league. Toronto was betting on its biggest talent to lead the team for many years to come. It was a sign that the franchise believed it could compete at the highest level, with Vlad serving as the centerpiece of the project. And the truth is that he rewarded that trust in the best possible way during the previous season. On countless occasions, Guerrero carried the Blue Jays.
Offense on his shoulders, he drove in crucial runs, showed up on the biggest stages, and once again proved why he is considered one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball. His presence in the lineup completely changed the way opponents built their game plans. No pitcher approached Toronto the same way, knowing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was waiting for his turn at the plate. But the situation in 2026 has been different. Although his contact numbers remain solid and his ability to get on base is still above average, something has clearly changed when analyzing his power production. The home runs have dropped dramatically. Balls that once sailed into the stands are now frequently ending up as singles or doubles. And for a player whose primary job is to produce runs and change games with one swing, that decline has naturally started raising questions. As a Blue Jays fan, perhaps the most concerning part is not simply the reduced number of home runs. The real problem is that the entire offense seems to feel the effects of that decline in production. When Vladimir is dominating opposing pitchers, the entire batting order functions better. Pitchers are under constant pressure, runners advance more easily, and opportunities appear naturally. When that is not happening, the entire offense seems to lose part of its identity. That is exactly why Friday night's victory over the Yankees brought such a positive feeling to the fan base, not just because of the result itself, but because it was a demonstration of the kind of baseball Toronto needs to play moving forward. It was an aggressive, efficient performance that took advantage of the opportunities that presented themselves throughout the game. Even without having his best offensive season, Guerrero still contributed in an important moment. His RBI double helped extend the Blue Jays' lead and served as a reminder that even when the numbers are not eye-popping, his presence continues to have a major impact on the field. The win also carried tremendous emotional weight because of the opponent. Beating the Yankees is never just another victory on the schedule. There is a historic rivalry, there is direct competition within the division, and there is the satisfaction of defeating one of the most powerful franchises in the sport. Ending New York's winning streak made the result even more special for the fans who filled Rogers Center. For a few hours, everything seemed to be heading in the right direction. The team had secured an important victory. The atmosphere inside the clubhouse was positive. Confidence seemed to be growing. And the Blue Jays were showing signs that they might finally be able to build the kind of momentum needed to climb back into the race in the American League East. But then came the news that quickly changed the mood among the fan base. Shortly before the next matchup against the Yankees, the official lineup was released, and immediately one detail caught everyone's attention. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s name simply was not there. The absence created immediate concern. After all, we are talking about the most important player on the franchise. Any physical issue involving Guerrero inevitably becomes front-page news in Toronto. Soon after, the explanations arrived.
According to reports released before the game, Guerrero revealed that he felt discomfort in his lower back during the previous night's victory. At first, many believed it might be something minor. However, the discomfort ended up being significant enough to convince the coaching staff that the best course of action was to keep him out of the lineup. And at that moment, concern among fans increased considerably. Because back injuries are never viewed casually in modern baseball. Even when they do not appear serious, they can affect movement, swing power, balance, and a player's ability to generate force through his swing. And considering that Guerrero is already going through a season below expectations in terms of power production, any physical limitation naturally raises even more questions about what might really be happening. But what stood out most was the coaching staff's decision to act immediately without taking unnecessary risks. As a Blue Jays fan, my first reaction is not panic. It is concern, but not desperation. What worries me most is not missing one game against the Yankees. What really stands out is the overall situation. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not producing power the way we are used to seeing. The home runs have practically disappeared from his game this season. Now, a lower back issue appears at the exact moment everyone has been trying to figure out why his power numbers have dropped so dramatically. It is impossible not to wonder whether this physical issue may have been affecting his performance for some time. When a player of Vlad's caliber goes so
Many games without showing the power that made him a superstar, there is usually an explanation. It could be a mechanical adjustment. It could be mental. It could simply be a slump. But a back injury certainly belongs on that list of possibilities. At the same time, there is a positive side. The Blue Jays acted quickly. They did not wait for the situation to get worse. They did not put Guerrero in the lineup simply because it was an important game against the Yankees. That shows the organization is thinking long-term. After investing $500 million in him, the priority must be his health for the coming years, not just one game in June. If I had to rate my level of concern from 0
to 10 right now, I would say 5. If he returns in 2 or 3 days, this was probably just a normal scare during a long 162-game season. But if we start hearing about additional testing, extended treatment sessions, or multiple missed games, then the situation changes completely. Because the reality is simple. This team was not built to compete without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We can praise Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, George Springer, or any other player on the roster. But Vlad remains the center of this project. When he is healthy and performing at a superstar level, the Blue Jays can compete with any team in the American League. When he is not on the field, or when he is not close to his best version, this team's ceiling drops dramatically. Another thing that concerns me is where the Blue Jays currently stand in the standings. Toronto is already chasing the division leaders. There is not much margin for error. Every series matters. Every win counts. Losing your best player for a significant period right now would be a massive blow to the team's ambitions this season. That said, as a Jays fan, I would rather lose Vlad for 2 or 3 games than see him push through the pain and turn a minor issue into an injury that costs him a month or more. The best possible news would be seeing him return next week fully healthy, moving normally, and perhaps finally beginning to rediscover the power we have been waiting to see throughout 2026. Because if there is one thing every Blue Jays fan knows, it is that this team will go as far as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can take it. Without a healthy and dominant Vlad, it is very difficult to imagine Toronto making a serious playoff run. With him at his best, however, everything changes. And that is exactly the hope that keeps this fan base believing.